Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Easy Scholastic. I'm Jasmine. In the previous session, we have discussed the basic ideologies behind discrete time signal processing and we have seen the basic operations of DSP along with convolution. Also, we have solved some problems under convolution. In today's session, we are going to cover the topic discrete Fourier transform. The content of the today's session are we will be seeing the evolution of Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, discrete Fourier transform, and we will solve a problem under discrete Fourier transform. To explain the concept of Fourier transform, we need to know the term Fourier, the fire of transformations. Fourier transformation is used to convert the signal in time domain to frequency domain. So why we are in need of conversion? Information that we obtain from the signals in time domain are not sufficient in most of the cases. So we will be converting the time domain signal into a frequency domain signal, which means if we are transmitting a signal, the single signal is decomposed into a number of sampled version of the signals such that more number of information can be collected from this single signal. This transformation can be done with the help of certain tools called as Fourier series, Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, discrete Fourier transform, and fast Fourier transform. All these tools are discovered by a French mathematician named Joseph Fourier in the year between 1790 to 1800. Let's see what are all the similarities and dissimilarities between these transformations and why we are going for the other transformations from the reference transformation. So first let's consider this Fourier series. Fourier series is applied only for the periodic signals that follows the Dirichlet's condition. If we consider a signal in time domain, the signal can be transformed to frequency domain using sine and cosine trigonometric functions. Why we are specifically considering the sine and cosine trigonometric functions? Because already we have said it is applicable only to the periodic signals. So among all the trigonometric functions, sine and cosine are called as the periodic signals. So the time signal can be decomposed into a set of periodic signals with the help of this sine and cosine functions. Okay, next is Fourier transform. Already we have Fourier series, right? Then why are we going for this Fourier transform? Because Fourier series is applicable only for periodic signals, and if we are considering a non-periodic signal is to be transformed from time domain to frequency domain, we are going for this Fourier transform. Okay, now here comes a discrete time Fourier transform. This discrete time Fourier transform analyze the samples of continuous functions of frequency. That is, the input to this discrete Fourier transform is discrete. Okay, discrete sample, and the Fourier transform will be performed on this discrete sample such that it will produce a continuous function of samples in terms of frequency. Okay, so the output is in continuous form, the input is in discrete form in discrete time Fourier transform. Understood? As we know, we are using the sine and cosine functions because they are periodic, as well as we can also apply these to even and odd signals, because sine is specifically applicable for odd signal and cosine is specifically applied for even signals. So this can also be possible with the help of this Fourier tools. Okay. Next is discrete Fourier transform. So already we know there is a tool called discrete time Fourier transform. Then why we are moving to this discrete Fourier transform? Why? Because in discrete time Fourier transform, we will get a number of, that is a continuous number of samples in frequency spectrum. But the thing is, it is continuous. Therefore, it is not applicable to digital systems. In discrete Fourier transform, the output of DTFT is given as an input. Therefore, it will produce a signal with discrete number of frequency samples. So here we can say that the samples are limited. With the help of these samples, we can derive the final output of the signal. Okay. Next is fast Fourier transform. So the discrete Fourier transform, the computational cost or the time consumption is more, and also the number of steps is also more. So in order to reduce the complexity of this particular system, we are going for fast Fourier transform. Okay. Now, I hope that you all understood what is the similarities, advantages, and shortcomings of all these Fourier tools. Let me show you an example to explain this total Fourier concept. See here, I have considered a white light. Okay, when a white light crosses or falls over a prism, it is splitted into Vibgyor color, right? Before falling into the prism, we know it is a single light and the light color is white. But when it crosses over the prism, it is splitted into 7 colors of signals with 7 different frequency. That's why we are going from time domain to frequency domain to gain more information about the signal and to analyze the frequency characteristics of the signal with the help of this transformation techniques. Okay, let me show you one more picture. So see here, in time domain, we are getting a signal which is a combination of a number of signals, and when the signal is converted to a frequency domain, the single signal is splitted into a number of waveforms. Okay, so each waveform will have a specific characteristic, a specific frequency, a specific wavelength, such that the overall characteristics of the waveform can be studied with the help of all these transformation techniques. Okay, so this is a small introduction about this Fourier tools. Now let's move on to our topic, that is discrete time Fourier transform. So I have told you earlier, discrete time Fourier transform, here the input is discrete and the output is continuous in terms of frequency. Correct. So here the samples can be analyzed with the help of a continuous function, and also more number of frequency components can be obtained with the help of this DTFT concept. Here the aperiodic time domain is converted to a periodic frequency domain such that we will get the output at regular periods of time. The DTFT ranges between -infinity to infinity. We can say that the output will contain both positive as well as negative values of frequency. So these are the main characteristics of DTFT. Now let's move on to the mathematical expression for DTFT. So mathematically this function can be expressed as x of e power j omega is equal to summation n equal to -infinity to infinity x of n e power minus j omega n. Here n is called as the discrete sample or discrete time, and we have a function called omega. So what is the name of omega? Omega is angular frequency. So this component specifically represents the frequency element, correct? And also here you can see there is e power minus j omega. Minus j, e power minus j represents, this is a complex number, correct? So if it is a complex number, then we can find the magnitude and phase spectrum of the specified signal. Okay. And this left hand side, that is x of e power j omega, is called as the frequency spectrum of the signal. That is the overall output, which is a continuous function of omega. Okay. Let's express this expression in terms of rectangular form. Okay. The rectangular form of DTFT can be expressed as x of e power j omega is equal to x r of e power j omega plus x I of e power j omega. So this x r of e power j omega represents the real part, and x I of e power j omega represents the imaginary part. Why is it so? Because we have the complex exponential function e power minus j omega n. As we know, e power I theta can be written as cos theta plus I sin theta. So this is a even function and this is an odd function, and also these two are the periodic functions. We have a real and imaginary part. We can find the magnitude as well as the phase spectrum. So what is the formula to calculate magnitude spectrum? Modulus of x of e power j omega is equal to square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. And how can we find the phase spectrum? Angle of x of e power j omega is equal to tan inverse of imaginary part magnitude divided by real part magnitude. So DTFT, the input is discrete and the output is continuous in terms of frequency. Correct? So it is not applicable to the digital system. So this is the drawback of DTFT. But in order to explain a system theoretically, we are using this DTFT. Okay, but practically it is not possible. So in order to make the system to be a practically possible one, we are going for the next technique, that is discrete Fourier transform. Here the input to DFT is the output of discrete time Fourier transform, and the output of DFT is also a discrete one in terms of frequency. Okay. How we are making this continuous signal into a discrete signal? With the help of a sampling technique, and the sampling is performed over a period of n. Okay. Since it is performed over a period of n, the effect of aliasing can be avoided with the help of discrete Fourier transform. Mathematically, we can relate this discrete Fourier transform and discrete time Fourier transform with the help of this expression. That is, x of e power j omega represents the discrete time Fourier transform and x of k represents the discrete Fourier transform. How can we equate this? Just by replacing the frequency component omega is equal to 2 pi k by n in this x of k expression, where the value of k ranges from 0 to n minus 1. So n is nothing but period. Okay. Now let me show you a picture that shows the difference between DTFT and DFT. So this is our original signal we are going to transmit. On taking DTFT, this signal can be transformed to a signal with continuous terms of frequency. While taking DFT, we are transforming this signal into a sample of continuous frequencies. Okay, this is a very important 2 more question. If we couple the formulas of DFT and IDFT, we can say that it is a DFT pair. DFT stands for discrete Fourier transform and IDFT stands for inverse discrete Fourier transform. Let me show you the formula for DFT. Mathematically, the DFT can be written as x of k is equal to summation n equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi nk divided by n, where k ranges from 0 to n minus 1. N is called as the period. Okay. And the formula for IDFT is just reverse of it. That is, x of n is equal to 1 by n summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1. X of k, here it is minus and here it is plus. Here we don't have 1 by n term, but here we have 1 by n term. Okay. E power j 2 pi nk divided by capital N, where n ranges from 0 to n minus 1. If we couple these two, then it is called as DFT pair. Okay. Now the application side of this DFT is, it is broadly used in image processing, signal processing, image transformation, correlation, convolution, power spectral analysis. Now let's see a problem. That is, compute a 4-point DFT of a causal sequence given by x of n is equal to 1 by 3, 0 less than or equal to n less than or equal to 2 and 0 elsewhere. So what are all the quantities we know from the question? Given 4 point, correct, 4 point represents the period. So the value of n is equal to 4 and also an input sequence is given, that is x of n is equal to 1 by 3 for 0 less than or equal to n less than or equal to 2 and 0 elsewhere. What is the meaning of this condition? In the interval 0 to 2, x of n has the value 1 by 3. So we can write this as x of n is equal to, since we have 4 samples or 4 periods, I am writing this as 1 by 3 comma 1 by 3 comma 1 by 3. So this position is 0, 1, 2. We have 0, 1, 2, 2. The value is 1 by 3, but we have 4 samples, so I am taking the 4th value as 0. Okay, so this is the x of n sequence. With the help of DFT formula, we are going to find what is the x of k value for the given input sequence. Okay, so by DFT formula, what we know? By DFT formula, what we know? X of k is equal to summation n equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi n k divided by capital N for the limit k 0 to n minus 1. We know the value of n is 4, right? So we can rewrite the formula as summation n equal to 0 to 3 x of n e power minus j 2 pi n k divided by capital N value is 4. And for the value k 0 to n minus 1, that is 3. Now I am going to cancel these two terms. So I can rewrite this expression as summation n equal to 0 to 3 x of n e power minus j pi n k divided by 2 and the limit of k is from 0 to 3. Now I am going to expand this summation for various values of n. What will be my answer? X of k is equal to x of 0 into e power 0 plus x of 1 into e power minus j pi k by 2 plus x of 2 into e power minus j pi, the value of n is 2k divided by 2 plus x of 3 into e power minus j pi, the value of n is 3 into k divided by 2, where the value of k is from 0 to 3. I can cancel this 2 and this 2. Since x of 3 value, this is 3, right? X of 3 value is 0. I am making this term as 0. Now I am going to substitute the values of x of 0, x of 1 and x of 2, and also I am going to expand this exponential formula. We know the formula e power I theta is equal to cos theta plus I sin theta, right? So with the help of this formula, I am going to expand this exponential function and I am going to find what is the expression for x of k. So I am going to write this as x of k is equal to 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 cos pi k by 2 minus j sin pi k by 2 plus 1 by 3 cos pi k minus j sin pi k. And the value of k is from 0 to 3. Going to take the common elements outside the bracket. So my final expression will be x of k is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus cos pi k by 2 minus j sin pi k by 2 plus cos pi k minus j sin pi k. And for the value of k is from 0 to 3. This is the final expression for x of k. I am going to take this as equation number 1. Now I am going to find the values of x of k for various limits of k. First is I am going to apply k value as 0. So what will happen to my expression? X of 0 is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus, I am applying the value of k as 0. So it is cos 0 minus j sin 0 plus cos 0 minus j sin 0. As we know, sin 0 value is 0. I am making it as 0. So what is the final answer? 1 by 3 into 1 plus cos 0, the value is 1. So 1 plus 1 plus 1. So I can write the value of x of 0 is equal to 1. I am going to apply the value of k as 1. What will happen to my expression? X of 1 is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus cos pi by 2 minus j sin pi by 2 plus cos pi minus j sin pi. Cos pi by 2 is 0. Also sin pi is 0. Right. Now my answer will be 1 by 3 into 1 minus j into sin pi by 2 is 1. So it is minus j plus cos pi value is minus 1. So it is minus 1. Plus 1 and minus 1 will get cancel each other. Therefore, I can write the final value of x of 1 as minus j by 3. Now I am going to apply the value of k as 2. What will happen to my expression? X of 2 is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus cos pi minus j sin pi plus cos 2 pi minus j sin 2 pi. Value of sin pi is 0 and the value of sin j2 pi is 0. So this is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 cos pi is minus 1. So minus 1 plus cos 2 pi. 2 pi is plus 1. So it is plus 1. Now my answer will be x of 2 is equal to plus 1 and minus 1 will get cancelled. It is 1 by 3. I am going to apply the value of k as 3. So x of 3 is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus cos 3 pi by 2 minus j sin 3 pi by 2 plus cos 3 pi minus j sin 3 pi. What will be my answer? Cos 3 pi by 2 is 0 and sin 3 pi is 0. So this is equal to 1 by 3 into 1, that is sin 3 pi by 2. The answer is minus 1. So it is 1 plus j. Okay, cos 3 pi, the answer is minus 1. So plus 1 and minus 1 will get cancelled. Therefore, x of 3 is equal to j by 3. Therefore, x of k is equal to 1, minus j by 3 comma 1 by 3 comma j by 3. Okay, so I have obtained the value of x of k. Initially I have found the expression for x of k. Now I have found the value for x of k. So once the value is calculated, we need to find what is the magnitude spectrum and what is the phase spectrum for the corresponding x of k. Okay, how can we find the magnitude spectrum? Modulus of x of k is equal to modulus of all the values, that is modulus of 1, modulus of minus j by 3, modulus of 1 by 3 and modulus of j by 3. Okay, so we know a plus ib means modulus of a plus ib is root of a square plus b square. So the final value of modulus of x of k will be 1 comma 1 by 3 comma 1 by 3 comma 1 by 3. We need to find what is phase spectrum. The angle formula for a plus ib is tan inverse of b by a, imaginary by real part. Of x of k is equal to tan inverse of, in the first value we have only real part, we don't have any imaginary part, therefore 0 by 1 comma tan inverse of minus 1 by 3 by 0 comma tan inverse of 0 by 1 by 3 comma tan inverse of 1 by 3 by 0. This is equal to, the first value is 0, second value is, any number divided by 0 is infinity, tan inverse of infinity is 90 degree. So if I calculate 90 degree in radian mode in calculator, I will get the answer as 1.57. Since it is minus 1.57, comma 0, comma here it is plus, so it is plus 1.57. Now I need to draw the plots for magnitude and phase. Okay, so this is k, this is modulus of x of k, this is magnitude spectrum. Okay, here the value of k is from 0 to 3. So 0, 1, 2 and 3. The magnitude value, maximum value is 1, minimum value is 1 by 3. Now I am going to plot the curve. That is for first value, that is 0 position, my magnitude is 1. So I have marked here. And second value is 1 by 3. Third is also 1 by 3. Fourth is also 1 by 3. So this is my magnitude spectrum. So how can you draw the phase spectrum? For phase spectrum, this x-axis is k and y-axis is angle of x of k. And here 0, 1, 2, 3. And here the value is 1.57. Here it is minus 1.57. I can draw as, in 0 position my answer is 0 and in 1 position it is minus 1.57, 2 position it is 0 and in 3 position it is plus 1.57. This is my phase spectrum. Okay, let me summarize the steps. Initially we find what is the expression for x of k. Next we find what are the values of x of k. Finally we calculated what is magnitude spectrum and what is phase spectrum, and we have drawn plots for magnitude and phase spectrum. So that's all about DFT. Hope you enjoyed the session. If you have any doubts in any problems, please mail me or put a comment in comment section so that I can explain. Thank you all. Have a great day.